Have you ever wondered who the real Marie Antoinette was, beyond the infamous "let them eat cake" quote? Well, wonder no more as we delve into the life of this enigmatic queen. Born into Austrian royalty, Marie Antoinette was thrust into the world of French monarchy at a tender age. Her marriage to Louis XVI, when she was just a teenager, marked her ascension onto the French throne. But who was she really? A queen by marriage, but an Austrian by birth, her loyalties were often questioned. Her life in the French court was a whirlwind of opulence and controversy. She was adored and reviled, celebrated and condemned. Her story is one of power, corruption, betrayal, and revolution, a tale that has captivated the world for centuries. So let's delve into the life of this iconic queen, starting from her childhood. Prepare to journey back in time, to an era of grandeur and turmoil, as we unravel the story of Marie Antoinette. Born into Austrian royalty, young Marie Antoinette's life was anything but ordinary. As a daughter of the powerful Habsburg dynasty, she was raised amidst the opulence of the Schönbrunn Palace, yet her childhood was far from carefree. From a tender age, she was trained in the refined arts of music, dance, and etiquette, but also in the harsh realities of political strategy and international diplomacy. Her education was a rigorous one, befitting of a future queen. She was taught to read and write in several languages, and was schooled in history, geography, and the fine arts. Yet, amidst these scholarly pursuits, she was also prepared for the role she was destined to play, that of a pawn in the grand game of European politics. In 1765, when Marie Antoinette was just 9 years old, her mother, the formidable Empress Maria Theresa, began to arrange a marriage between her youngest daughter and the Dauphin of France, Louis Auguste. This betrothal, steeped in political maneuvering, was part of an elaborate plan to solidify the alliance between Austria and France. The pressure and expectations placed on the young girl's shoulders were immense. She was expected to leave her homeland, marry a man she hardly knew, and navigate the treacherous waters of the French court. And all this, while she was barely a teenager. Yet, Marie Antoinette, with her charm and vivacity, accepted her fate with a grace beyond her years. Despite the daunting challenges ahead, she was determined to fulfill her duty, for the sake of her family and her country. Aged just 14, she was sent to France, a foreign land that would become her home and, ultimately, her prison. But in those early years she was not yet the infamous queen that history remembers. She was simply a young girl, caught in the crossfire of political alliances, about to embark on a journey that would forever change the course of her life and of history itself. Marie Antoinette's reign was marked by extravagance and controversy. This Austrian-born queen, thrust onto the French throne, was known for her lavish lifestyle that was, in many ways, a spectacle of indulgence. From the grandeur of her wardrobe, filled with the most fashionable and expensive dresses of the era, to her infamous Petit Trianon, a secluded escape within the vast grounds of Versailles, her extravagance was a sight to behold. Yet, while Marie Antoinette reveled in the opulence, the French public viewed her with growing disdain. As the queen's spending spiraled, so did the country's debt. Her perceived indifference to the financial struggles of her subjects earned her the nickname Madame Déficit. The queen's lavishness, coupled with her seeming disregard for the nation's financial troubles, only fueled the public's resentment. Adapting to French court life was a challenge for Marie Antoinette. The strict etiquette and constant scrutiny felt stifling, even suffocating. Her attempts to break free from the constraints often led to scandal. Among these was the affair of the diamond necklace, a fraud scandal that, while not directly her fault, further tarnished her reputation. Then, there were allegations of romantic affairs, most notably with Swedish Count Axel von Fersen. While historians still debate the truth of these claims, they undoubtedly added to the queen's scandalous image. Yet, amidst the tumult, Marie Antoinette gave birth to 4 children, with only one surviving into adulthood, a stark reminder of the harsh realities of 18th century life. In the grand halls of Versailles, Marie Antoinette lived a life of luxury and scandal. She was a queen who danced to her own tune, unfettered by the expectations of her role. But as she reveled in the splendor, discontent festered among the French public. Her reign, marked by extravagance and controversy, was a symbol of the monarchy's disconnect from the struggles of the people. Yet beneath the glamour and scandal, storm clouds were gathering. The French Revolution signaled the end of monarchy and the beginning of the end for Marie Antoinette. In the late 18th century, France was in turmoil, the nation was bankrupt, and the gap between the rich and the poor was widening at an alarming rate. The monarchy's frivolous spending was often blamed for the financial crisis, with Marie Antoinette painted as the frivolous queen who personified this wastefulness. Marie Antoinette's extravagant lifestyle and her perceived indifference to the plight of the French people earned her the nickname Madame Déficit. Her lavish parties, opulent dresses, and expensive jewelry were seen as a slap in the face of the starving French populace. Adding fuel to the fire was the infamous diamond necklace affair. A costly diamond necklace was allegedly ordered by Marie Antoinette, but in reality, it was part of a fraudulent scheme by a con artist. Despite her innocence, the scandal further tarnished her reputation, strengthening the public's belief in her reckless extravagance. As revolution stirred, Marie Antoinette became a symbol of the monarchy's corruption. She was vilified in pamphlets and posters, depicted as a traitor who was more loyal to her native Austria than to France. Her attempts to mediate between the king and the revolutionaries were seen as manipulative ploys, further stoking public hatred. The storming of the Bastille in 1789 marked the beginning of the French Revolution. The royal family was forcibly moved from the opulence of Versailles to the confinement of the Tuileries Palace in Paris. In the eyes of the revolutionaries, they were prisoners of the people, held accountable for the nation's suffering. Marie Antoinette, once the glamorous queen, was now a prisoner to the revolution she had inadvertently helped spark. Her reputation, already damaged, was irreparable, and her role in the revolution only served to further the public's disdain for her. As the revolution raged, the royal family's fate was sealed. The monarchy was overthrown, and with it Marie Antoinette's world came crashing down. In the next chapter we delve into the downfall and execution of the queen who was once the most powerful woman in France. In the end, Marie Antoinette paid the ultimate price for her perceived extravagance and indifference. The final chapters of Marie Antoinette's life began to unfold when she was imprisoned in the Temple, a medieval fortress in Paris, following the storming of the Tuileries Palace. The once majestic queen was confined within cold stone walls, her world shrinking to the size of her cell. In October of 1793, Marie Antoinette was put on trial. The charges against her were severe, including high treason and depletion of the national treasury. The trial was little more than a spectacle for the public, a kangaroo court where the verdict was predetermined. After 2 days of relentless questioning and accusations, Marie Antoinette was found guilty. The sentence was death. On the morning of October 16th, Marie Antoinette was taken by cart through the streets of Paris, her journey's end, the guillotine in the Place de la Révolution. The once adored queen, now vilified and ridiculed, held her head high. She met her fate with a dignity that stood in stark contrast to the jeering crowds. The blade fell, and with it, the era of absolute monarchy in France. Marie Antoinette's death marked the end of centuries of royal rule. Her execution, while tragic, served as a powerful symbol for the French people. It was a clear message. The age of kings and queens was over. The age of the people had begun. The public's reaction was mixed. Some celebrated the queen's death, seeing it as justice for years of royal excess. Others mourned the loss, remembering the queen's grace and charm. Yet all understood the significance of the moment. It was the end of an era, a pivotal point in history that would forever change the course of France. Marie Antoinette, once the Queen of France, met her end at the guillotine, becoming a symbol of the fallen monarchy. So, what can we make of Marie Antoinette's life and legacy? After traversing her journey from the opulence of Versailles to the grim guillotine, we're left with a complex tapestry of a queen who was both vilified and revered. As a queen, her lavish lifestyle became a symbol of the decadence and disconnect of the monarchy, fueling the fires of the French Revolution. Yet, her execution marked a turning point, casting her in a tragic light. In death, her reputation underwent a transformation. She emerged not as the Madame Deficit of revolutionary propaganda, but as a woman who was caught in the relentless tides of history. Her story has been retold, reinterpreted, romanticized, and re-examined through the centuries, but the essence of her narrative remains the same. Marie Antoinette's life serves as a reminder that power, privilege, and wealth are fleeting, and in the end, it's our actions that define our legacy.